Yeah. All right, we're live. It's the Post-Fight Podcast. I'm Nick Atkin, your host from South China Morning Post, SCMP MMA.com. It's the terrible trio again. I've got my man JHK and Drake Riggs with me. Guys, how's it going?
Excellent. It's early, man. It's early for me.
Yeah.
Running off 3 hours, but I'm feeling pretty good, actually. I'm happy to be here.
It's early for you, but it's late for us, John, isn't it?
Yeah, it's late for us, and he's got that Green Bay Packers jersey on.
It's the big day.
Oh, my God.
What's the big day? I got no clue about this.
Playoff
Okay.
game. Yeah.
Who are you playing off against?
Playing the team that beat John's team, so that's why he said.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Packers are just going to steamroll them. I just feel like that's
Hey, don't jinx it, buddy.
bad game, dude. It's a bad game. Your advantages are there's so many advantages going into that game for the Green Bay Packers. So most likely they're going to lose, because in football that's what usually happens. It's like you're so good, so much better than the other team, and no one expects you to do anything, and it becomes competitive. But in all seriousness, I think the Packers are probably one of the favorites to win the whole thing, man. It's just phenomenal. Them in Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
But, I don't want to go too deep into NFL playoffs because it's competing with actually the what is it? The Holloway Cater card, right? Aren't they competing with that?
I think the game should probably start like during the second or third main card fight, depending. But yeah, around there.
Well, that's a good segue, guys, because I think where we should start today, I think the plans have changed from what we were originally going to talk about. I think we should really talk about Dana White's announced they're going to make this Khabib decision live on, I think, 3 p.m. EST. So does that put it squarely in the main card? Maybe this is their plan to go up against that big NFL game. So, yeah, let's get into it. Khabib apparently is going to make an announcement that's going to affect, this is Dana's words, I do believe, the Conor McGregor-Dustin Poirier match as well.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, what do we think Khabib's decision is going to be? I mean, it seems to me unlikely they're gonna give it all this fanfare and build up, and then he's just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually just gonna still retire, guys."
Well, I think that could be. There's a reason to do that anyway, because if he isn't coming back, then they're taking the title off of him, right? So then I think that we've speculated about this in the past already, leading up to this fight and everything. Maybe the big announcement will be, Conor versus Poirier's for the title now. We're on ABC. I mean, that's a little bit too perfect. If you're gonna announce that on any time, either direction, I think that would make a lot more sense to announce that rather than, he's sticking around. Like, it's good to announce that, I guess, on that channel, no matter which way you're swinging it. But what would be bigger is probably to promote the fight that is literally coming up next week. So yeah, that's how I'm looking at it anyways. I guess we'll see. It's funny that, there has been so much hype around this whole entire thing, because I'm sure you guys saw the video of them like going into the room, posted and everything. And it's like, it looks like they're making it look Khabib's been gone for like 5 years. He's fought like 2 months ago. It's just the whole thing is very interesting to see how it's going. But
well, I'll tell you what, I've got the video that Dana put up here. Maybe I'll try and put it on screen. We can just see exactly what he said. So bear with me while I get that on screen. Here it is. There's a circle of doom going in the middle. So maybe I'll press refresh. That might help it. Let's see what Dana said. Oh, I didn't share the audio. I'm such a klutz, guys. I'm sorry.
That's the wrong one too.
Yeah. I'm gonna redo that. There we go. Dana White, share audio. Dana White on Twitter. Let's see what he said. Okay. Can you all hear that? Oh.
What's up, everybody? I met with Khabib Nurmagomedov last night, and today at 3 o'clock on the East Coast on ABC, the network, I'm going to talk about his decision and how it's going to impact the Poirier-McGregor fight next weekend and the co-main event in the lightweight division. 3 o'clock on ABC, the network.
Okay. So nothing else really that we can talk about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Drake, he was saying, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. It could just be an announcement that title fight is now, the title is going to be on the line for McGregor and Poirier. John, what's the other option? If Khabib is hanging around, what's he going to do? Who's he going to fight? Is one of the options? Is it GSP? Is there even a possibility of a welterweight move and he vacates the title and that still goes into the McGregor-Poirier fight?
None of those are going to be options. None of those are going to happen. He just told you what it was. He's just hinting to you, the hardcore fans, right? He's kind of giving you a little bit of taste of what he's going to announce. Because to be honest with you, the announcement is not for us. It's not for the people that follow the sport closely, the 10%, the 15%. It's for the 90%, the people that are so-called casuals in this sport that watch the sport maybe on ABC or ESPN and only watch the main cards or only watch the main event. That announcement's for them. It's not for us. We already know what's going to happen. We already know what the meeting, what happened in the meeting. We already know. Khabib told Dana, because out of respect, he met with Dana. Dana wanted to meet him. Out of respect, he met him, went through all the trouble because it's just a respect thing, right? And they probably talked about other things besides that. But Khabib is retired. His mother told him to do it. He's going to follow his mother's wishes. And I think the title's vacant now. Dana just said to us, it's going to impact the Poirier McGregor fight and the way it's going to impact it is. And we just talked about it, last week? I mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago that this fight is going to be for the title. Mm-hmm. I told you the week leading up to this fight, if somebody wants to go back and fact check this, I told you they're going to announce that this fight, McGregor versus Poirier, is going to be for the vacant title. I said it a week or two ago. That was the only thing that was missing from this pay-per-view. And why are we going everywhere, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just why not?
Why not?
Yeah, we're having a bit of fun. It's a Saturday night here in Hong Kong. It's I've had a couple of whiskeys earlier, so maybe that's it. Let me move you back over there then. Okay. All right, Tan Nguyen is saying, why would Khabib go through all this hassle just to retire? He wouldn't need to go to the meeting. That's what I'm saying. There's something here. Why would he even bother going there? There has to be some kind of... It's not they're there. He's in Dagestan, right? He's still gonna get on a plane.
No. His promotion is having a co-promotion with UAE Warriors. He's supposed to be there, and that's why Dana was already there at Fight Island. They were going to be there at the same time. It was a time to meet. I think even if Khabib was already retired, they would have probably met anyways, just out of respect. They know each other. They've done business together. They're just we're in the same location. Let's see our face. Let's see your face. It's like you meeting your friend, or somebody you've dealt with for many years that you enjoy.
I don't have any friends, John.
Well, he did have friends, right? He did have friends. So I'm just saying, you can't read too deep into it. Khabib bought the promotion. He changes to EFC. EFC is in a partnership with UAE Warriors. They're having a show. Dana's on Fight Island. They knew that weeks out. So Dana's like, Khabib, you're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Let's meet up. Let's talk. Because, Dana wants to talk him back into fighting. And Dana already knows that he's retired. And Dana was pushing this narrative, right? Khabib's not retired yet. I got to talk to him. Because he knew weeks out that he's going to meet with Khabib and he's going to make this into a big promotional campaign to kind of push the McGregor fight, to push the McGregor pay-per-view. And this is what's happening. We're seeing it. For a casual fan, they don't know none of this. They only know that Dana's going to come out during the ABC show and he's going to make this announcement about Conor because everybody knows who the hell Conor is outside of this little bubble that we're in, and everybody's gonna be hyped now. Oh shit, next week Conor's gonna fight for the title against Poirier, the guy he beat at featherweight, and they're gonna give all this information that most fans don't know about during that. I guarantee they're gonna have some kind of package ready after Dana makes the announcement. They're gonna have some package ready already, for the vacant lightweight title, blah 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 blah, whatever hype reel they're gonna put together, and that's gonna pump out for next week's show. Like Drake said, it's perfect. It's almost flawless. It's a flawless campaign, man, that he put together weeks out in advance. And you got to give respect to Dana for it, man. He's the best at it.
Okay, what about this? Just listen to this idea. Khabib retires, the title goes on the line, and McGregor-Poirier. McGregor wins the belt, and then makes a couple of defenses, and Khabib can then come back later, and then the rematch is that much bigger, right? Because you can do the McGregor-Khabib rematch, but I don't think there's many people on this planet who seriously think that McGregor has a chance of beating Khabib. The fight would go any different. But if McGregor is the champ going in, it maybe sells that match a little bit more, right? Or I mean, I know it's going to sell millions of pay-per-views anyway, but it makes it all that more spicy. Am I just talking rubbish? Is there anything into that theory, Drake?
I mean, I think it's a good theory, but I still think there is no way Khabib cares to run it back. Like, he's like, we saw how that goes. It's always going to go that way. I don't think there's any enticing that man. If there is, then, you know, there's no point in ever believing in MMA retirements ever again. If he doesn't stick to his reasoning here, outside of getting his mother's blessing or whatever you want to call it, then never believe MMA retirements ever again. You know, because if anybody's gonna stick to it, I would imagine it'd be Khabib. So yeah, I think that's a good point in theory, but I still don't think it would be enough for Khabib to care. Like, maybe if Conor gets talking enough and annoys him enough and everything, and is able to defend enough, which I think that's a hilarious thing, because we know that's not going to happen either. I don't think Conor's ever defending any belts. So yeah, there's a lot of ifs, and I don't know. Good in theory. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I just had to put it out there. It's probably never going to happen. Tan Nguyen is also saying that, yeah, that video did 1.3 million views on Twitter. Great promotion. Indeed, yeah, it's really hyped up the card today, I think, which is the first one on ABC. Great promotion by them. Diff Aspect says, as Ariel said, he could sell this meeting on pay-per-view. Yeah, really good promotion. Billy Hicks, what's up? Saying, how are we doing this morning? GSP fight is going to happen. Yeah, we touched on it briefly earlier, but what are the chances that if he does fight, is GSP the guy? Yes or no? Let's put it to bed. John, Drake, give me your straight answer. Can it happen? Will it happen? Should it happen?
It can happen, but will it happen? I don't think it will happen, because there's too many variables here and too many things that they have to line up perfectly to have that fight happen. And both sides are going to want to have the advantage going into the fight, right? And it's in Khabib's at this level to where he's one of the biggest stars in the sport. He's transcended the sport. And GSP also, he's also transcended the sport. He's huge, right? Even after he's retired for like years and years now, people are still wanting him to come back and fight the best guy that's fighting right now, which is Khabib, which is the guy that's undefeated, the guy that looks like he's unbeatable. People still believe that GSP could come back and fight him and beat him. You know what I mean? And now it's like, will GSP fight at lightweight? And it's like, come on, that's the only fight I think Khabib will take, is to fight him at lightweight at his weight class, where he has the most advantages of winning the fight, right? And GSP is not going to go to lightweight. Have you ever seen GSP at lightweight? He's not even come close to lightweight. The last time he fought, he was at middleweight. He was 185. What are you talking about? What are people talking about? Why are they obsessed with this? Like, right now, if you see GSP, I told you guys, he's on the couch drinking Budweisers. Who's going to fight if you're on the couch drinking Budweisers? These people need to just stop talking about GSP.
GSP's looking pretty good, isn't he, Drake? You know, we've seen him post all those pictures. And if I'm not wrong, I believe Khabib actually walks around heavier than GSP. Am I wrong? I think that's right.
I can't imagine that's true, but I've heard similar thing. Yeah. But yeah, Nick, I agree. GSP is a very good looking man. You know, he's always in shape and everything, and he's got hair now, you guys. George St. P hair, you know, that's what we got happening these days, which is still a weird thing to just to see. But yeah, as for the original question, everything, should it happen? Yeah, probably time to get it out. You know, just if it can be done, of course. Which, of course, it can be. Anything is possible these days. We saw Mike Tyson fight recently, so you know, GSP versus Khabib can happen. Probably should happen, just for the sake of getting it out of the way. But will it happen? I don't know. As we've discussed in the past too, I think it's we missed the boat, unfortunately. Because I very much want to see it, but I think the window has closed for the most part. But never say never. Never say never. If 2020 showed us anything, that is probably it.
If
Okay,
GSP comes back, he's only going to come back at middleweight, I think.
Yeah,
If he
the lightweight thing.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Good luck. Good luck. You want him to cut off half, like both his arms, then he can make light. But then, of course, the advantages definitely go to Khabib with the armless GSP. You know?
All right, man. Maybe GSP would be.
Liban says Khabib is coming back. Look at Dana's smile after the meeting, and Curtis saying if Khabib had no intention to return, why would he go through the trouble of having a meeting like this in the first place when he could have just made an announcement? Yeah, good point, Curtis. I think we chatted a little bit about it, so I won't harp on too much about that. But I think, guys, another thing we should talk about, which we didn't originally plan to talk about, is that one fight has fallen through on this card, hasn't it? Philip Hawes' fight is now off. I am going to bring it up from RT in Russia Today, saying tonight's UFC middleweight bout between Phil Hawes and Nasruddin Imavov has been cancelled. RT Sport has learned. No excuse or reason, given. I guess, guys, we can suspect some sort of COVID, or is it maybe a weight cut issue? Have you heard anything, guys?
I wouldn't imagine a weight cut issue considering they both made weight, right?
Exactly.
But you never know, I guess. Of course, the likely suspect would be the virus, which I don't. I would love to see. I don't know off the top of my head or anything the numbers, how many Fight Island fights have been canceled from the virus. Obviously, the Vegas fights, happened every single week before the year shut down here, before the year moved on, of course. No idea what the situation is here. And this is brand new news to me because I was, sleeping and everything. So that sucks. But I don't know. I have no insight on this one.
I don't know, man. When was the last time somebody got pulled from a card on Fight Island because of COVID? Has there been anybody?
That's why I just thought maybe there's some sort of issue from after they weighed in. I don't know, maybe a lingering thing.
Mm-hmm.
Someone fell ill. I don't know.
Yeah, you've seen that happen a lot where a guy will make weight and then the night or the next day they kind of fall sick or some kind of medical issue comes up. We've seen it with Robert Whittaker. He made weight. And then the day of the fight, remember what happened to him? He had to get life-saving surgery. So most likely that's what's going on, some kind of medical issue.
Ariel.
Yeah, what did he say?
Ariel's saying it's a medical issue for Hawes. Nothing to do with COVID, according to Daniel Rubenstein, his manager. And he's looking to get on the card next week for 257. Okay. So can't be too serious.
I guess not. He's just trying to hop back on the better card.
Genius.
Oh, you see, these guys are getting smarter, right? They're like, okay, how do I get on the big McGregor card when this big announcement's coming up? Okay, I figured it out. And I'm already here. It's not like it's in another city, right? So, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, of course, something must be wrong medically for him. And if he needs to, hop off the card, luckily there's 2 more cards this week they could push that fight to. And could they get away with not making these guys make weight again?
Do you think they could get away with it? Yeah, they could.
That's a good question, right? They already made weight. So could they get away with not making these guys cut? Because cutting weight a week after you just cut weight is not ideal, right? Look at Michael Chandler. Remember Michael Chandler said when he made weight to be the backup, he needed like a bunch of extra weeks to recover and to get his body back to normal. And then that's why he didn't take any fights after that so quick. He didn't make a quick turnaround because he needed to get his body better, or up to par so he could get, to fight at the highest level. So I don't know, but that'll be interesting if he's going to end up being on the 257 card. Like what kind of health risk is he taking by cutting weight again?
T in the comments, T_ has said that the UFC website has it as an injury to Hawes. So maybe it's just something pretty minor, which will clear up in a few days. Waleed is saying maybe they can give them a catch weight or make them fight a division up.
They
Would
should.
that be?
Yeah.
They should do that. Because that would be a little bit brutal and ridiculous, I think, to make them cut weight for originally the weight that they were supposed to do. So unless they're both willing, I guess. But let's just play it safe. You don't want to get it canceled again, just the second time around by making them have to cut weight again in that short span. So that would be the right thing to do, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it still should be a good card, shouldn't it, John? I did a preview with Chris yesterday. We made all our picks. Another push I'll just do quickly. You can see it in the description down below. SCMP MMA is teaming up with the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. You can get that in the App Store or at getfanatics.app. Sign up there and then join the SCMP MMA group. You can make your picks for all of the fights tonight and every UFC card, every One Championship card, every Bellator card, even special events like Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson. Make all your picks, and then you can go head-to-head with me, Drake, John. Actually, not John. You can't get it in the App Store in South Korea, can you? So John's not going to be doing them.
Blocked out.
I wouldn't be doing it anyways. Come on.
He says that because he can't do it.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't do anything that involves picks, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, let me finish my plug. Yeah, so get that, and then you can go head to head with us, and there's a league table and everything. You can chat in the group, and we can all see who's winning. It's a bit of banter. There'll be some prizes I've been told are going to be put up every month. So please, go to getfanatics.app, or you can see the description down below this video, or I'll run this little banner below quickly. Getfanatics.app. And there's a link right there in the scrolling ticker, which will take you directly to the SCMP MMA group. But I'm pretty sure you can find it on there. Go do it. Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. Anyway, plugs over. Let's move on. I think the main thing we were going to chat about before all the late drama, we were going to discuss Nate Diaz and Justin Gaethje are rumored to be fighting at lightweight, John.
Yeah, let's bring up those guys' records. Let's bring up like their stats right now. Like Nate Diaz, when was the last time he fought? What weight did he fight at? And what was the result of that fight? Let's just look at those things, those couple things, you know what I mean? Because when I look at that and I'm thinking like Dana White's talking about him fighting at 155 again, and he's facing off with Justin Gaethje possibly, that doesn't sound too good for Nate Diaz at all. Right? It does not sound good for me. When you see Nate Diaz, and he's always been a guy that didn't want to go down to 155. He always wanted to stay at 170, but then when he went to 170, the guys were just too big for him, just a little bit stronger than him, right? And so if we look at it, his last fight he lost by doctor stoppage, and that was a welterweight fight versus Jorge Masvidal. Before that, he fought. Was that at welterweight against Pettis? Yeah. So when's the last time he fought at lightweight?
The Michael Johnson fight.
And what year was that?
2015.
Oh my God. Come on, dude. Like, how old is Nate Diaz now?
35.
35?
Let's scroll up. Yep, 35.
35
He'll be
years old.
36 in April. So
36. Okay, so before when he actually might fight, he'll be 36 years old. He hasn't fought at 155 since 2016, and he's fighting Justin Gaethje. Like, I don't understand why they would put that fight together. You know what I mean? Like, Justin Gaethje, I thought Justin Gaethje wanted the big fight. You know what I mean? The big fights that's going to get him closer to the title. Is this a money fight? Does this make sense, Drake? Is this a money fight? Do you consider this a money fight?
Yeah, at this point it probably is, but I'm on board with the line of thinking that a Nate Diaz win really doesn't, or probably should not do much for you, just considering where he's at and all that. I mean, if we want to be totally honest, the guy has never been like the very best fighter or anything, or a legitimate guy who, at least I have never had a legitimate shot at becoming champion, and we've kind of seen that when he gets into those positions, aside from the Conor win, which of course is his biggest one and on short notice. But you mentioned like his original welterweight run where he got ragdolled by Rory McDonald and what was Stun Gun? Was that the other guy he fought? He fought
Yep.
Kim, and that didn't go very well either. And then you look at the Masvidal fight; he got absolutely dominated in that fight. I was there for that one, and just when he faces these top tier guys, it doesn't usually go too well for him. And Gaichi, I think it would definitely be the same way where he'd probably get knocked out. I don't think that would end very well for him whatsoever. Sure, he'd probably have some moments of success for as long as it lasted, but ultimately, I think that would be pretty one-sided as well, and not do much for Gaethje in terms of getting back to a title shot. Of course, it would be good regarding exposure for him and getting a win over a name like Nate, I guess, but that's about it. I don't care for Nate Diaz fights too much, honestly. So just because ones like these, especially, I just don't see him winning many of these fights, if any.
Yeah, Tan in the comments says it's a weird fight. John, do you agree with that? It is weird, isn't it? But I was thinking, is there something in it where Dana sees Conor winning the vacant belt, Nate somehow maybe beating Justin Gaethje, and then they do the Nate Conor trilogy for the title?
The thing, if I could interject real quick, the thing about it that I do find very interesting is that, what was it, last week, Dana mentioned Gaichi and Oliveira, potentially, right? And then now, all of a sudden, we're talking about this. That makes me think and hope that Oliveira will now slide into his rightful spot in getting a title shot rather than having to fight somebody again like Gaichi. So that's what I would hope, if anything, would be the best thing to come out of this, would be that Oliveira now gets to wait for a title shot against whoever, because that man absolutely deserves that. So that's kind of my biggest takeaway from hearing about all of this, is being, okay, maybe there's more hope for Charles getting right in there next. So that's what I've been taking away from it.
Might just be a hunch from me, but I think Dana is going to really want to keep Charles Oliveira as far away from Conor McGregor.
He should.
If McGregor wins if McGregor wins the belt, Oliveira is just going to probably get held up a little bit for a couple of years, I think, until McGregor dances off again to do some other things, some more boxing maybe. I don't know, John. Yeah, do you think Oliveira is a dangerous matchup for McGregor?
Of course, he is. He has everything. He has all the skills to beat McGregor. The only thing that is very suspect about Oliveira is, will his chin hold up against McGregor? Can he take those left hands? And that's one thing about McGregor, man. Anybody he fights, anybody, he still has that left hand, that laser left hand. And if he connects with you, you're going to sleep. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to sleep, you know what I mean? Especially at 155. And you've seen it at 145, right? No one can take those punches. At 155, I just recently watched McGregor's fight against Alvarez, right? And and when you look at Alvarez, he was probably at his best at that time when he faced McGregor. And McGregor was flawless. I felt like that performance showed the best McGregor we've ever seen. The most confident, the most powerful, the most skilled, right? And maybe we might see that McGregor in this Poirier fight. We don't know yet, right? Because it hasn't happened. But anybody you put against McGregor, his left hand is so dangerous that it kind of levels the playing field out in some ways. Unless you're Khabib. Because Khabib has a chin and Khabib has the skill set that nullifies almost everything, right? But other than that, every other guy that's in the lineup, every other guy that's ranked, they're in danger when they face McGregor, right? So I don't think that Conor is going to be protected against Oliveira, but I'm pretty sure Oliveira is still like 2 fights away from a title shot, no matter who is holding the title, to be honest with you, right? Because if you look at it from a marketing standpoint, Oliveira is the least marketable out of all the contenders. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, he can't speak English, right? And that's a big thing against him in terms of promotional, isn't it? Just let's be honest.
Yeah.
The best marketing,
Oh.
like I feel like to market a title fight with the contenders that we have right now is if McGregor does win this fight against Poirier, the winner of Chandler and Hooker would be the best for marketing wise. It would be the best because Hooker will bring the banner. He will go back and forth with McGregor. And you know he can because he's been doing it alone heading into this Chandler fight. And people are like latching onto this, right? Chandler's not saying anything negative. And Hooker's kind of promoting this fight on his own. Do you think Hooker's promoting this fight on his own basically? And Chandler's just being himself?
Kind of seems that way. I think that's definitely fair to say. And we have kind of seen Chandler in the past, I think, talk a little bit of trash. You know, I think the Pitbull fight brought it out of him a little bit. And then the premise rematch a little bit, especially after how the first fight went and everything. So Chandler, I think he would, if there was an opponent that was being really like disrespectful to him, like I wouldn't say Hooker's really been too bad, but yeah, he seems like he's saying more of the things that are more interesting, I guess, to the general viewer and everything. So yeah, I would agree with that in this instance, and I think that Chandler also realizes that it's kind of that same spot as Ben Askren a little bit. Of course, Ben did a good amount of talking leading up to his UFC debut, but Chandler realizes like, all right, I don't have a UFC win yet, so I can't say too much until I get that, which I think he kind of mentioned in an interview like 2 days ago or whatever. He's like, after I, take out Hooker, then I can really start calling some shots and everything. So I think he just really understands the position he's in right now more than anything.
And also with Chandler, he's the type of guy that the UFC can promote. I've said this before. I'm probably saying it again 10 times more. He's kind of like built as like this role model type of champion. Do you understand? He speaks well. He can fight. He's well-rounded. He can go on ESPN. He could go on ABC. He could go on Oprah. He could go on Ellen. He's that type of guy, right? And if you put him against like a McGregor, like McGregor can play the bad guy role. Chandler can play the good guy role. And if Chandler wins this fight, I feel like they're going to push that against McGregor. And they're going to be able to promote that. The good guy versus the bad guy. The guy that's coming into the promotion from another promotion that was the champion versus the champion, right? And you have that. Even if Hooker wins, you could have Hooker going back and forth with him, city kickboxing guy from New Zealand against the Irishman who's the champ. And they'll go back and forth all day in the press. And Dan likes that. He enjoys that, right? You could tell because if you watch his interviews, he's laughing, he's joking around. Half the stuff he's saying is just cheeky, right? It's just like that's what their banter is in New Zealand. That's how they talk to each other, and he's just showing that. I think a lot of people think that Dan Hooker's like, they think like he's like serious when he says some of the stuff that he says, right? and maybe he is sometimes, but I think half the time he's kind of joking in some ways, just to get you guys to get the journalists and the media to kind of write some headlines, and he knows how to play the game. And I like that evolution of Hooker too, because Hooker didn't do that back in the day when he was fighting at featherweight. He kind of started doing that recently during his lightweight run, right? And he understands that, and he understands that if he could win this fight, he'll most likely get the McGregor fight if McGregor wins, and I think that would be massive. Even if Chandler wins, it still will be massive. Chandler can go on, like I said, First Take and like a Skip and Shannon. Like he could go on those shows because he's American. He'll be in the US. He can fly around. McGregor's not going to go on those shows. McGregor's going to be on his yacht. You know what I mean? And he'll do a couple promos and here and there, but that'll be in Europe. So I don't know, man. No matter what happens, I don't see Nate Diaz. At the end of the day, I don't see Nate Diaz fighting for the title. That's the thing. Like all these people wishing for Nate Diaz to fight for the title. I don't even think there should be a title if he fights McGregor. I feel like he could fight McGregor, the trilogy, at 170 with no title, and people are going to watch that fight on pay-per-view, and it's going to be blockbuster. Why are they trying to push this? I don't, if they are trying to push the title for Nate Diaz and like this dream that they have of like, okay, Nate Diaz is going to fight Gaichi, and he's going to beat Gaichi, and McGregor's going to beat Poirier, and then they can meet for the title. I don't see that happening. I feel like you guys and a lot of people that think that are dreaming. You're dreaming. You're in dreamland. You're in you know, what's that? 6 feet under. You know what I mean? Like you're dead.
Real quick, did you guys ever see Chandler's purge video that he did? His purge promo.
Recently?
No. This was I don't remember when it was, but a couple fights ago. It was pretty good. You should check it out. Search Michael Chandler purge probably, and it'll probably come up. But he did a promo video like 2 minute long, where it's like he's in the purge, you know, like looking through the doorbell camera. It was pretty good actually, like pretty good acting, and you know, just check it out.
I'm gonna have to go check it out.
All right, I could look that up. Drake, I'm going to throw this question to you because you probably know more. Paguru, what's up, Paguru? One of our frequent followers. I've never actually heard this dream match uttered by anyone else, but he's asking, please take my question. Khabib versus Tension under kickboxing rules, who wins? Khabib has obviously got the weight and Tension's got the rules.
You know, I love you, Paguru. I love that you're asking great fantasy questions like this one, but come on, man. There's no way that Tension should lose that fight, you know, because it's in his world, right? Of course, you mentioned the weight difference there, but that also plays in Tension's, you know, favor. He can be so much faster than Khabib. There's not a chance whatsoever, I think, that Khabib would stand a chance. He probably wouldn't get knocked out, but he'd be outpointed easily. Yeah, I don't think that's much of a fight. And I saw you mention though that you know, Khabib has no striking. I think that he is a solid striker, a better striker than many people give him credit for. And I've said this plenty of times too. He's just in one of those special cases where his strength, his wrestling just so far outweighs every other thing that he does that people are like, oh, he's not good at this and that because it blinds them because of how good he is as a wrestler. But I think that we've seen, you know, especially in this recent stretch he's been on of his title defenses, that he's definitely a pretty solid striker. He's beyond serviceable, I think, but we just don't ever, you can't weigh the two skill sets next to each other because of how great his grappling is on like an unparalleled level. But as for the original question, Tension styles on him, absolutely.
All right. Yes, people in the chat, please get any questions you have in there, any comments. We love all the interaction. I guess we'll go to our next topic though, John, which was Ryan Garcia wants to try MMA apparently. Yeah, I'll bring up the story here. I've got it from, who have I got? Ryan Garcia, MMA Junkie, I think. Why not? Yes. Okay, get past the others. Boxing star Ryan Garcia willing to do MMA, fight Conor McGregor to prove a point. I'm not too familiar with Garcia. I'm not a huge boxing guy, but this made a little bit of waves today, didn't it, John? How do you think Ryan Garcia would do in MMA?
Is he even training MMA? Like, this is interesting that he says this because he's only 22 years old. He seems to be one of the biggest stars rising up the ranks in boxing. You know what I mean? I'm not a guy that watches boxing too closely, but I know who Ryan Garcia is, and I've seen some of his highlights. I haven't watched like full fights from him, but he seems like a guy that's very talented and very popular and very athletic, very skilled. I'm pretty sure if he invested his time, and he says he's only going to fight, he's only going to box until he's 26. That gives him enough time if he starts training now, dabbling into grappling and kicks and, you know, and all the other aspects that he needs to kind of hone to become a mixed martial artist. By the age of 26, I don't see why not. I don't see why he can't step into MMA and do really well, especially with the boxing skills that he has already, you know what I mean, and the knockout power he possesses. What weight is he at exactly? He's the lightweight champ, right? So what is lightweight in boxing? I don't even really know.
I think he's around 130 because I think he's the same weight as Gervonta Davis. I think
Exactly, right? So 130, that means, you know, he could probably fight at bantamweight, right?
Mhm.
And maybe possibly featherweight. And I would be really excited to see him come through and compete in the UFC or anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Why not have him come through? You remember a kid named Rashad Mahdi? Remember, do you know that name? Do you guys know that name, Rashad Mahdi? He was a
Doesn't ring a
phenom.
bell.
He's a phenom kid from like, he was like what, 10 years old or even probably younger, and he was training everything at that time, like boxing, MMA, and he was winning up all the tournaments. He was snatching up everything, and now he's focused purely on boxing. And I think he's about the same age as Garcia. And that guy, he had a deal lined up with the UFC, but he decided to go to boxing, right? And then he told me, I interviewed him like last year, and he told me that he's going to continue with boxing, but eventually he's going to make his way to MMA. But he's still building himself. You know, he's not up to like Ryan Garcia level in star power, but he's building himself. He's winning fights. He's, you know, getting finishes and stuff like that. But yeah, I like this idea. I think Ryan Garcia, I don't know if he's going to prove a point against Conor McGregor, because Conor McGregor is a lightweight, and I don't think he's going to fight at featherweight. So Garcia would have to go and fight him at lightweight. And this is in 4 years. 4 years. Is he going to be ready in 4 years to put on the 4-ounce gloves and face Conor McGregor? I don't think so. I don't even think Conor McGregor is going to be fighting in 4 years.
Yeah, I was
You
about
guys
to say
think so?
that. No. Well, by the time Garcia gets anywhere near the level he needs to be in MMA, Conor will definitely be long gone. So let's see what happens. Anyway, anything to add, Drake? Sorry, we didn't go to you.
No, all good. John pretty much took the took the words out of my mouth as well. Not a big boxing guy whatsoever, but I like the plan. I definitely think it's a smarter idea if he's really serious about trying MMA at some point. This 4-year window, start learning everything right now rather than jumping in way prematurely, which we've seen is not for the best usually, no matter what you're going to be jumping into. So yeah, I like the idea for sure, and he seems like a guy who has a lot of potential at what he's doing currently. So I think if he could stick to that idea, I'm all for it. But of course he wants to prove a point against Conor. Of course he would.
He's going to call out the biggest name in the sport. If he's going to say some name, he's not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go fight Cody Garbrandt. That's not what you want to do. You want to say, okay, I'm going to fight Conor because Conor's the biggest name. Everybody knows who he is, even though you're not going to fight him because most likely Conor's not going to be there in 4 years. But the thing is, I feel like Dana, he's already talking to him. He's already talking. Ryan Garcia and Dana are probably already talking to each other about the future. They probably had some talks. If you ask Dana about it, he'll probably say, I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Because maybe legally something is, something there, but he's probably not going to say anything. But I'm pretty sure he's talking with somebody. His manager's talking to somebody about MMA because the guy, he's a star, man. And why not? Why not go over there and show people, prove a point, like you said.
Okay, Jim102 in the comments says, I think Garcia is doing it just to continue his self-promotion. He's got a massive following on social media. Yep, he's called out Henry Cejudo, I think, a couple times. I mean, who hasn't Cejudo called out? Yeah, anyway, Waleed in the comments asking, guys, who do you guys have winning? Punahele Soriano against Dusko Todorovic. Fun matchup between two great prospects. Waleed, I gave my pick yesterday on the post-fight podcast preview show with Chris. I went for Puna. He went for Dusko. Drake, who have you got?
Well, if you want to find out, you got to go to the Fanatics app. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Full circle there.
I missed the golden layup to promote this thing. Okay,
perfect.
Yeah.
I got you.
Get Fanatics. Yeah, Drake's got you. Get Fanatics.app. Go download that in the App Store or get Fanatics.app. Fanatics Fantasy MMA. Make all your picks. Anyway, Drake, who you got?
It is a really nice app, though. I will say I like how the layout is and everything.
Is cool.
And I love the quotes when you boot it up. They got the funny quotes that from all the fighters and everything to start off. So yes, I'm all for the app and everything. But as for this fight, I went with. Yes, it has. It totally has. I went with Puna as well. I'm on the same page as you, Nick. I just really like what I've seen with him in comparison to Dusko so far. And those Island boys, right? They all got a little bit of momentum right now, I would say, and they're always tough. And Puna, man, he's probably one of the hardest hitters already at middleweight, I would say. So I'm really liking what I've seen from this guy. So I'm going to ride the wave of momentum he's got right now.
There's a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of guys out there that are in the comments, and I've seen in the interviews, because I interviewed Puna. Puna's one of the, I gotta say, Puna, one of the nicest guys you'll ever speak to, man. This guy's a killer, and he'll put hammers in your face, right? But one of the nicest guys, man. He has nothing bad to say about anybody, but he just wants to go out there and be violent. Puna, you know what he can do. You've seen his violence. You've seen how hard he hits, and Drake said it perfectly. He's probably one of the hardest hitters that's new to the division. Dusko, same thing, man. These guys are like kind of very similar in many ways, and it's hard to pick who's gonna win. I think both of them are undefeated, right? Are they both undefeated? Let's get this app up here, man.
What are we doing?
What are we doing right now, Nick? What are we doing, man? Like, we need to get this app up here so we're gonna know what's going
at the wheel.
This guy is. He's drunk.
We're helping him out.
We gotta give us some shit.
That
right?
might not be working. Yeah, keep talking while I try and figure that out.
Okay. This guy's figuring it out. Yeah. Anyways. Dusko, everybody keeps telling me this guy, just because he's been fighting in Europe and he only has, I think, one fight in the UFC so far, that people just don't know who he is and they don't understand the type of skills he has, and he's going to be a champion. But we've heard that about everybody. Mm-hmm. Every single person that comes into UFC, there's somebody saying this guy is going to be the champ. This guy, you don't know about him. You know, he's so skilled. He's so powerful. Yes, both of them are undefeated. Look at that.
Look, Drake's picks showing up on there as well now. They verified Drake.
All right, let's look at this. Mm-hmm. Okay, Dusko's 6'1", Puna's 5'11", 74. He's got 1.5 inches reach advantage. Puna's 2 years older. You know, they're pretty much the same, basically the same age. They have basically the same amount of fights. Man, this is a toss-up, to be honest with you, man. These guys are powerful, and I feel like we're gonna see some like. It's one of those fights that when we're watching it later today, we're gonna be like awed at like the heat these guys are throwing at each other, you know, and someone's gonna get cracked in the early, right? Someone's gonna get cracked and they're gonna come back and it's gonna turn into like this brawl. I could see a brawl happening here, right? With these guys. And to me, because of that, it's a toss-up. These guys, I like both of them. Both of them are killers, and I feel like I put them in the same category as like a Phil Hawes. These three guys and Phil Hawes are like the young crop that's coming up in this middleweight division. And we're going to see all three of these guys in the next 3, 4, 5 years at the top of the division, fighting each other, maybe winning a title. That's what I see in these prospects. And it kind of sucks to see them fight each other now, but actually it's good because it creates a storyline for years later when they actually face off against each other at the top of the division, like, hey, Puna knocked him out or Dusko knocked him out early on in their UFC careers. Now they're meeting again. That's what I like about this matchup. And it doesn't matter who wins it. I'm not going to pick anybody. I think it's a toss-up.
Somebody's always got to go.
Yep, exactly. Unless they draw.
Right, never mind.
Yeah, but I doubt that's going to happen. But Puna is coming off a long layoff. You know what I mean? He's had some, I think he had some injuries and stuff, you know, during the whole COVID times. And if I remember correctly from the interview, but he's all good now. And he trains at one of the best gyms in the world, man. Like right now, like Extreme Couture has become one of the best gyms in the world. It was just like a gym where a lot of guys were training at for a while, but now it's just like they're producing some heavy prospects. And, you know, you got Francis Ngannou over there. He's probably the heaviest of prospects. Pun intended.
Well, thank you to the guys again at Fanatics for all this lovely data. You can get the app at getfanatics.app, as it says up there. They've got all the fights for this card, as you can see here. We made all our picks. Go get it, join it, make your own groups with all your friends. Join our group, SCMP MMA group. It's really simple, really easy, really quick. Jake, it took like a minute to make all my picks, right? It's really not hard, is it?
No, it's wonderfully laid out. It's just perfectly simple, but plenty of detail as we get right here. I really like the app, and I'm not just saying it because we have this affiliation going here. It's one of the nicer, apps like this out there. At least I've ever seen. So
yeah, man,
it's
let's
very
do it,
cool.
'cause I remember there was an app. What was it, Counter Move? Remember years ago, there was an app called Counter Move that was like a pick'ems app, like a fantasy app or whatever, and it was good for that time. But I feel like now it's just everything's so advanced, and Fanatics is putting out some advanced shit right now, right? So,
Yeah, and this is also just something they mocked up for me to use on these podcasts. The actual app looks like a way smoother and better, and it has way more info on it. This is just kind of light version of it. James at Fanatics is going to build me an even better thing to use next week. But on there, you've got all the Vegas odds. It shows you how many people are voting for one fighter on the app. It really helps you inform your decision. It even gives you links to all of Mr. John's interviews with some of these fighters on these cards. Yeah, it's got it all in there. It's very
fancy.
Yeah, it's really informative. It's like trying to help you make your decision. I really like it, obviously. And
let's
it's
see
cool.
how many interviews did we do from this card though?
Quite
Like,
a
let's
lot.
go down. Let's see who we
Okay.
interviewed, so we could give these guys an idea of maybe to go back and watch the interviews. Okay, so Whitelaw, he did Max Holloway, so you could go on the YouTube page and watch that interview. And let's go down and see. Okay, I interviewed the Leech. That's a good interview right there.
You did Puna.
I interviewed Puna. I missed Phil Hawes, man. I was gonna get him, but I missed him. So next time I'll get him.
My freelancer Matt Scott interviewed Wu Yan, not on video, but he did a lovely article with her.
Definitely. Woo.
We got.
I miss Justin Taffa, man. That's my guy, but I just couldn't get a hold of him. But yeah, next time we'll get him. But I think that's the sleeper fight right there. Sarah Morris. I did interview Sarah Morris. I interviewed David Zawada also.
And Killer Kilburn.
And then yes, I interviewed Jacob Kilburn. That he's coming back. I think there's some sleeper fights on here, sleeper matchups that people are just looking at names and like, oh, who's this guy and who's this guy? But really, what do you think, Drake? We might as well, before we stop talking about this card, because there's a bunch of topics in the comments. What's the sleeper fight? What is the fight you feel like it can turn into a fight of the night that we're not going to expect?
That is a tough one. Scroll back up for me, Nick. I saw something that stood out to me. There's plenty of good choices here.
My mouse has decided to pack up right in the middle of this, so I'm having to like scroll up on the trackpad. So bear with me.
Get those fingers moving.
Sleeper. I really like Wu and Edwards, honestly.
We don't have a pick for Edwards. Sorry. Okay. Don't want to linger too much on that.
I don't know, man. Buckley and Dikariku could be a bit more competitive than everyone expects it to be. Of course, you see Dikariku there riding a 3-fight losing streak. Really needs a win right now. On paper, looks like a layup for Buckley for the most part, and very well could end up being that way. But whenever a guy's got their back against the wall like this, where they absolutely need a win to keep their job, I think more often than not it brings the best out of them. So that might be my pick. I don't think anyone's really looking at that one as a potential fight of the night, because everyone expects Buckley to go get another highlight reel knockout. But I think it could be a bit more competitive than everyone expects it to be. So that might be the one I would go with in terms of an actual sleeper, because of course the top 3 fights, I think those are the obvious choices for what is most likely to end up being the best one.
Man, there are so many violent. There's like, can we go back to the matchups? Like, if you look at this card from Matt Brown versus Carlos Condit down, if you look at it, Ponzinibbio, Lee, Buckley, what is it? Sicarico or whatever. And then you got Soriano, Dusko, and then you go down further. You got Hawes, and that's off the card, so you gotta take that off. And then you got those, like that main card right there that's leading up to the main event, dude. Those are all violent finishes. I swear to God, like I'm predicting all violent finishes up to the main event. And then the main event's going to be this. I feel like it's going to turn into a classic fight. I feel like Kattar's going to come with his best, and Max is just, he has something to prove, man. He's lost 2 in a row, and they're just going to go out there and put on a classic, because Kattar's tough, man. It's not like he's going to go away easy. And I feel like Max is just going to be able to be one step ahead of Kattar, but it's going to be a good barometer for Kattar to kind of elevate himself even more as he goes further into his career. And I feel like Max is going to win this fight, but it's going to be one of those classic fights where they're going to be going back and forth in the stand-up. A lot of people think that this is going to go to the ground. I highly doubt it, man. We're going to see Max just use his boxing, man, and use his range, and Kattar's going to go over there and try to take Max's head off, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a classic, man. It's going to be fun. But yeah, it's going to be a great, I think it's a great fight card, and the matchmakers did a good job for their debut on ABC. It's good. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, great card. And once again, get fanatics.app. You can make all your picks there. All right. Yeah, John said, let's get to some of these. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, let's get to some of these questions.
Let's line this up again properly. Okay, some questions in the chat. Who do we go for here? Okay. How is John not in Fight Island right now? That's pretty far still for you, John. I think you're stuck in South Korea as well, aren't you? That's a lockdown situation.
No, it's not a lockdown situation. It's a money situation, right? Like, if you don't have money, you're not going to be able to go to Fight Island. That's plain and simple. That's what it is, right? If you have the money, if you have the backing, then you could go to Fight Island. It's not like they're banning people from Fight Island. If you go apply, they're going to let you go, but you got to be able to cover all the costs. And a flight will cost a couple grand. Hotel stay, I heard it's like $300 a night.
Yeah,
like,
$250.
Who's going to be able to cover all of that, right? It's a tough sell for any like outlet. Like, go to any outlet and ask them like, hey, can I go to Fight Island? You guys just cover the cost. I don't know. I don't see many outlets doing that for
just
people,
the big boys.
Yeah, just the big boys. So and these big boys have guys that are like full-time journalists, full-time media members, covering those shows for them. So maybe in the future, man. Maybe in the future, Tan, I'll be there, but it'll be a surprise. I'll just pop up one day, and you'll see me there, and like, hey guys,
up in the rafters.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the arena, but as a fan.
That is a lot of money. What's $250 times 2 weeks or whatever it is? That's,
exactly. That's heavy on your pockets. And then when I come back, I have to do a 2-week quarantine and just sit around. But at least I get to do it at home. But still, I get to sit around and just. I can't leave. I can't do anything. It's just, I don't know, man. If I was getting paid and they were covering everything, I would do the 2-week quarantine. It's no problem. But it's too much of a burden. But anyways, let's go to something more positive.
Yes. Help us get to Fight Island at some point in the future by liking
donate to getfanatics.app.
Yeah, sign up to getfanatics.app, and then the more signups we get, the better.
Us closer to let's hashtag get John to Fight Island.
Yes.
Let's do that. Hashtag get John to Fight Island. No, get JHK to Fight Island. Because if you say John, it could be like 50 million Johns out there, right? So get JHK to Fight Island. Hashtag. Let's do that one, please. But anyways,
start the movement.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But the thing is, like with the app, I think one thing that people that like the listeners and people that follow SCMP MMA, you guys go get the app, get involved. It's just a way to kind of create this community with us. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be something fun. And, like if you do sign up right now, maybe Nick will be able to send out some T-shirts. Maybe we'll do a draw with all the people, the new people, get fanatics to get involved and say, hey, tell us like who actually got signed up through SCMP. And maybe we'll give out some T-shirts because, he's got boxes of T-shirts out there.
Yeah, right opposite where I'm looking now, there's a big cupboard full of yellow post-fight SCMP MMA t-shirts. Yeah, I'm sure we can sort some prizes out. The guys are based in Hong Kong as well with me. They're really nice dudes, and yeah, like I'm super excited about this opportunity.
We
I
got
think
to
it's
do
cool.
a promo, dude, like with the t-shirts. We have to now.
Oh yeah.
'Cause we're live right now, and I'm bringing it up, and
Yep.
you have to do it now, Nick. We got to get the Fnatic guys involved. Fanatics guys are watching right now. They're gonna get involved. Nick already has the prizes at home. It's not like he needs to make them. He's got the t-shirt. He's gonna sign it for you. He's gonna put some lipstick on and kiss it, so it has like it print. Come on, Nick. If people want that, that's what they want from you.
Okay, we can do that. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Jim 102 asking, given the situation at 205 with Adesanya challenging, do you think we see a Yuri Prochazka title shot in 2021? Whew.
He
Drake?
has to beat. He
Or
has to
John?
beat Dominic Reyes first, right, Drake?
Yeah, I think so. But I think he'll do that. Yuri's going to the top, baby. He's coming for that belt. He's gonna get it. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think that 2021, if he beats Reyes, he's right there. You know, you could get a title shot right off of that victory. I guess depending on, of course, how
Glover?
things play out in Glover. Yes, that would probably be. So, let's assume that Blachowicz ends up winning, then Glover presumably jumps right in there for the next title shot. So then Yuri has to fight somebody else, assuming he beats Reyes too. Of course, we're making all these assumptions here, but it's best case scenario, I think, in terms of the list and the waiting line for Yuri and everybody to have Blachowicz win. Because if Adesanya wins, then it creates all these wild possibilities, like we were talking about. What was that last week, where the guy could fucking go to heavyweight? Who knows? All this crazy shit. And of course, he would still be middleweight champion, so he would be bouncing back and forth. Like, for the contenders and the actual light heavyweight guys, you want your man, your current champ, to win that fight so that you can get your shot a lot quicker than you will with the new guy in town. So it really, really depends on how that fight plays out. So I think I feel a whole lot more confident saying Yuri title shot in 2021 if Hyon wins. If Izzy wins, not as confident. I think it's still possible. It would have to be, like, I would think, very late in the year. But man, even then, I don't feel super good about it because of, again, he'd be champion of 2 weight classes and have all these options now. Would have to defend both titles, all that. Assuming he wouldn't drop the middleweight one or whatever. But yeah, I think Hyon hangs onto the belt. Yuri definitely title shot in 2021.
Okay, John.
Well,
I thought you were gonna.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that the light heavyweight division is in this weird state because of Adesanya going up, and it really depends on, like, what Drake was saying. I'm gonna echo him and saying if Adesanya wins, it might be the worst thing that could happen to the division, right? Not in pertaining to moving it along quicker, right? Because you got Glover in line. He should be fighting for the title next. And then after that, you probably have the winner of Reyes and Yuri. And I think a lot of people, they look at Yuri and they see that first fight, his debut. And when I talked to Yuri like a couple weeks ago, and we talked about that fight, and I asked him about it and the way he kind of came out and like his game planning, and he just said, man, I was just trying some things out that was weird too. Like, he was trying things out in his debut fight against Volkan Ozdemir, who is a monster, and he went in there and starched him. It was just, and he said that first round, it was just not him. He just said he was trying some stuff out and it wasn't working. So he went back to his normal style of fighting after that, and he got the knockout. So we're going to see something different from Yuri in this fight against Reyes. And Reyes also has something to prove because he's lost 2 in a row and he just got completely smashed by Hyon, dude. That was just I don't know. It was almost like a flawless victory, right? For Hyon. Like, you remember those kicks that he was landing his side of his body was just, it looked like somebody rubbed blood with their fingers on his ribs, right? It was just dirt. It was just nasty. And then, like, even the knockout, it wasn't even like a power shot. It was like a short. He hit him with like a short hook or something, and it clipped him and rocked him, and after that it was over, right? So, man, it just shows you how powerful Jan is, and that's why this fight against Adesanya is gonna be fun because Jan has that power. He could generate power without winging punches, and we're gonna see if he can get in close and be able to do that against Adesanya, because Adesanya is gonna stay back and be very aware of his power. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't see Yuri fighting for the title this year. Even if he wins against Reyes, he'll probably end up fighting Glover to be, or Glover will fight somebody else. I don't see who Glover fights though. Who's next in the rankings that Glover can fight that is actually on a winning streak, that is actually a contender, like coming off wins.
Rakic.
Is there anybody there? Rakic? Okay, yeah. Rakic is fighting who? Isn't he lined up to fight somebody?
I don't think so. I think he's free right now. I think.
No, he's lined up. He's
Anthony
fighting
Smith.
somebody.
Maybe?
He's fighting. No, he just beat Anthony Smith.
Oh, right. See, I'm
so
all
we're.
over the place.
We gotta look at that. We gotta look at that. We gotta. This is why we need.
Oh, it's Thiago, I think.
Oh, Thiago. Yeah, Thiago Santos. Right. So if, let's say, Thiago Santos, Rakic takes out Thiago Santos. Man, if Thiago Santos loses to, let's say he loses to Rakic. Is he another guy that kind of like went to the peak and then just dropped off immediately? We've been seeing that a lot lately, right? Guys will go to the peak, like the top of the mountain, and then all of a sudden it's just a steep decline, right? But they're also fighting the best guys in the division too, but they're getting beat, handily by these guys. So we might see that. We don't know. We might see Santos come out and just starts Rakic too, and then now he's back in title contention, and then maybe that will line up the winner of Reyes and Yuri, because they haven't fought Santos, right? But it doesn't matter. I feel like whoever wins versus Adesanya and what is it, Jan? If Jan wins, of course we're gonna get the Glover fight. If Adesanya wins, we don't know what we're gonna get. That's the problem. So people that want this light heavyweight division to move forward, you're going to root for Jan to win the fight, right? If you want craziness, if you want spectacular fights, big fights, and chaos in the division, you want Adesanya to win. And a lot of people are rooting for Adesanya, to be honest, right? A lot of people love Adesanya, and a lot of people hate him too. That's why he's so popular.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Dorji, for pointing that one out. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Here's a question from Tan. Can you add the donate button to the YouTube live stream? Hashtag get JHK to Fight Island. I'll look into it. I have to ask SCMP MMA, because I think all the money would go to the big giant corporation behind us, and not actually is going to help John get to Fight Island. So
you gotta get them. You gotta get them to like say, okay, we're gonna put on the what is it, the super chat, right? And and all the super chat donations we're gonna put into a fund to get hashtag get JHK to Fight Island, right? And maybe we could get that going. But until then, the best thing you guys can do is just go over to getfanatics.app and sign up and get involved in the SCMP. Is there a group there, Nick? Like you could join?
Oh, there's a group, sir. Yeah,
okay, so join the group. And join the group, get in the chats. You could chat with other people that watch the show. You could chat with Nick. You could chat with Drake. You could chat with Chris. Who else is on there? Is Tom on there?
Whitelaw is signed up.
Whitelaw. You could chat with Whitelaw, right?
Jasmine's talking shit already.
Yeah. Jasmine's there,
Tom Taylor's been a bit silent, to be honest.
Who?
Might have to give him another message. Tom Taylor. We'll see. But yeah, John's right. Go to getfanatics.app, download the app, and then you can join our SCMP MMA group. The link is in our description below this video. That's how you can help get hashtag JHK to Fight Island. The more people sign up for this app and join it, the more money hopefully we're all going to make, and we can really expand this huge opportunity we have with SCMP MMA and Fanatics Fantasy MMA. Anyway, another question from Waleed. Do you prefer the end of year UFC card break and then having 3 cards in a week, or do you prefer having cards once a week with no breaks during the whole year? I know me personally, I really needed that little break we had at the end of the year. I was running on fumes by the end of that. I'm more of a fan of. I know this wouldn't happen anymore, but if you had one fight night a month and one pay-per-view a month, that would be a dream scenario for me with the UFC. I know they tend to have one pay-per-view and 2 fight nights, don't they? Before the pandemic, now it's just two events every week sometimes, or at least one a week, isn't it? I don't know, Drake. What do you prefer?
I think breaks are important. I was very excited for the breaks as well, because it's just funny. Like in this past year of 2020, where really there wasn't a whole lot to do outside of watching things, no matter what it is. Like where we're all stuck inside and everything. It still gets exhausting for especially us who are working in and around the sport and everything. So the break has been very nice, and now they're throwing 3 at us right away. I would, if I, in a perfect world, like looking at this question and everything, the break and then maybe spread them out rather than giving them right back to back to back. But I'm not really complaining about this. I think just the break in general is very nice to have. I would have definitely been dying for it a lot more if I could go out and do a lot more things, but it's still nice either way. But yeah, I think it's important essentially to have breaks just to get people missing it a lot more. And, I think not having cards every single week like we kind of used to, or at least, maybe a break every now and then, like between week. All right, we're going to skip this one and then the next one, and so forth, prevents, cards from being watered down maybe, and just makes you miss it a little bit more. And maybe that was been kind of a problem for people who have lost interest over, recent time, which has felt like myself during 2020 at least. But of course, it's hard to judge that year when so much crazy shit has been happening and all that just overall. But I prefer the breaks every now and then for sure.
Yeah, I do feel I know the situation is when they go to Vegas or they go to Fight Island, it's easier to put out shows every week or twice a week like they're doing this week, because they're just staying in one location, aren't they? And the setup's there. Why not use it? But when they go back to touring around America and around the world, they probably won't be able to put on a show every week. There will be sometimes they have to take weeks off just because it's not logistically possible, is it? Yeah. Anyway, John, do you have anything to say on this matter? Or do we move on?
Breaks are always good for anything, you know what I mean? Like, of course, even in the middle of the year, I'll take a short break from doing things. And that's what's good as a freelancer, I guess, is that you can take breaks. But as someone that works full time in the sport, or you work for an outlet full time, I guess it's good when you see a break coming up, because you're like, okay, now I could kind of pull back and I don't have the pressure of putting in all this work for all these shows, and it's not like you're just covering one promotion, you're covering multiple promotions, so a break is welcome for most people. Yeah, I like breaks, of course, but most of the time I can't stay away from it for some reason. I have to do something, I have to, I'll take a break for a day or two and not do anything and just sit around and just binge watch something that's not MMA related at all. And then the next day I'm back to oh, let's see what's going on. Oh, can I get an interview from this person, or can I do this, or can I do that? I'm addicted to it, for real. I'm addicted to it. And it's like MMA Anonymous, MMA
MMA rehab.
Yeah, it's like MMA Anonymous. I'm addicted to it, and it's a good addiction. It's not affecting my life negatively to where it's I'm neglecting anything else. You know what I mean? I'm fully functional. I'm a functional addict.
As we talked about off air to start things off.
Yeah.
Oh God, you guys are lucky you didn't hear that conversation before I pressed live.
I'm a functional addict, and I love it, man. I love, and for me, it's, you guys gotta think. There's people that watch MMA worldwide, and those people, I don't even know how they would do that. It's something that is beyond my realm of understanding, because I'll watch the UFC and I'll watch Bellator and I'll watch One Championship, and then I'll dibble and dabble like the Australian, New Zealand scene a little bit, and then Asia. Since I'm here, I'm covering that a little bit. Here, Korea, Japan, Thailand, and stuff like that. China a little bit too, but just that is a lot, so much to cover, right? There's people that are like covering like Russia and Africa and South America, and on top of the UFC and Bellators and the One Championship. I don't understand how they would do that. Like, they must not do anything except for just MMA, right? And those are the addicts. Those are to me, that's the hardcore. That's like the 5%. Those are the 5%ers, right? Like, I'm in the 15% range. Like, I'm not the like super hardcore to where I'm just like so into it like that, but I'm covering what I can, and then I'm living my life outside of it too at the same time, and have a healthy balance. If you're watching this, please have a healthy balance, man. Don't be one of those people that think that you're better than everybody else and you know everything about MMA, because at the end of the day, you don't know anything. You don't know shit. Just like we're just talking about this because we love it, right? But at the end of the day, let's give that like Robert De Niro. Come on, like that. Do you really know that? Do you really know everything? No, we're just speculating a lot of stuff that we say. So just find some balance, man. And
for yourself, John.
Oh,
no, just kidding.
GetFanatics.app.
Right. Get Fanatics. Circle back.
All right, what about this? A couple more questions we got here. We've got about 15 minutes to go on this. Tan Nguyen again, sub 10. How's the Whaley Rose title fight going? What's the holdup? We talked about it, didn't we, guys, on the show the other day? Don't think there'd been any dramatic developments since then.
Nothing.
Nope. This is a continuous question until something happens. I feel like I hear about this all the time.
Until we get the Rose interview, I don't think we're gonna find anything out.
You have put a request in for Rose Namajunas, so maybe we can get the skinny from her. Okay. I guess we haven't got much else to add to that one, so I guess we'll move on. Dorji, this is a two-parter, which first I was thinking, like, what, is Rakic going to fight Dan Ige and Ryan Hall or something? Like, how do you rate Rakic as a title contender and probably a champion? And I think, what's our takes on Dan Ige versus Ryan Hall? Now, we'll start with Rakic then. Do we think he can win the title?
Of course he can, right? And I'll give you like my rankings of the light heavyweight division. Okay, as like the champion, of course, is Jan Blachowicz. The number one contender is Glover, right? And at number 2 contender, right, behind Glover, I would put, man, it's hard to say, but I would put Santos there, right? And then behind Santos, I would put Dominic Reyes. Behind Reyes, I would put Rakic. The reason why I put Rakic is because he's been in the UFC much longer and he has more wins than Yuri, right? But then after Rakic, I would put Yuri there. Okay, and then kind of like that's my top 5 of guys that are moving up, and a lot of those guys are fighting each other. So, which is good for us to find out who's going to get closer to the title. But Rakic, definitely, he has the ability to be a champion. All those guys do. What do you think, Drake?
Yeah, no, I agree with pretty much, everything you're laying down right there. Sounds pretty similar to what my rankings look like. And I have to look at them. They've been, haven't been in front of my face recently because of the break and everything. But I think that the last win, that Anthony Smith fight for Rakic, was kind of important showcase for him in terms of how he won that fight. Utilizing a very grappling heavy game plan to pretty much perfection. Of course, not his most exciting fight or anything, but we've seen he's very capable of having exciting fights and putting people away very impressively on the feet. So it kind of showed that he's much more of the total package than maybe we suspected prior to that fight. So I think it's definitely possible. There's still question marks, of course, because there usually is until just as guys creep up the ladder and everything. But I think the potential is definitely there for him. And I mean, he's not even 30 yet, is he? So he's got still plenty of time to make that dream a reality.
I love Rakic. I think he's great. He's just such a cool dude. Yeah, I think he can I can get up there. Let's see. All right, what about Dan Ige and Ryan Hall? I think that's rumored matchup. Ryan Hall. Hopefully this one doesn't fall through, right, John? Because every fight Ryan Hall's had over the last couple of years seems to just mysteriously fall apart for some reason. I don't think Dan Ige would duck him though, would he?
Nah, I feel like this fight has been being talked about for a while now. It just, it just seems like now we have a date for this matchup. Ryan Hall was out there calling everybody out, saying that nobody wants to fight him, and then there's fighters, of course. It was almost like a situation in many ways. It was almost like a Hamzat Chimaev situation where Hamzat was calling out everybody, and then he's saying that nobody wants to fight him. Ryan Hall, same thing. He's calling out everybody, saying nobody wants to fight him, and then guys are like, "Oh, what is he talking about?" You know what I mean? Like, I'll fight him, and that's the Hamzat situation again. Same thing, right? People saying that they will fight him, but then they don't match him up but they don't give him the treatment that Hamzat is getting, right? Even though Ryan Hall is very dangerous and stylistically a bad matchup for a lot of these guys, right? But Dan Ige, I feel like Dan Ige is going to give him some problems. Dan Ige is tough. So Ryan Hall is not like the best striker, so I don't feel like he's going to go out there and knock out Dan Ige. So Dan Ige, he has a chin, and he's going to come forward. And the only thing is, will Dan Ige go to the ground with Ryan Hall? And if he does, then there you go. There's a big monkey wrench, right? If Ryan Hall goes to the ground with anybody, it's probably like 80%, right? If you put a percentage on it, it's like an 80% chance that Ryan Hall is going to find something, because he's nuts, right? He's nuts on the ground. He from the toe to your pinky finger or to the hair on your head, he's going to find something to latch onto and squeeze it, twist it, break it, smash it. I don't know. Ryan Hall is his nickname is the Wizard, and that's the reason why is because if he gets a hold of you, he's going to find something. And that's what intrigues me about this matchup is can Ryan Hall get Dan Ige to the ground? And you've seen him with the BJ Penn fight, that he don't even need to go for takedowns. He could just fly in there, flying scissor, right?
Crazy.
Imanari rolls and stuff like that. But I think Dan Ige will be ready for all of that stuff. I don't think it's going to be that easy for Ryan Hall. This is a big test for Ryan Hall, and I think if Ryan Hall could pass this test, it shows us that he's an elite fighter in that 145-pound division. We haven't seen him fight the best of the best yet. Let's be honest. He beat BJ Penn, right? Who else did he beat? He beat Darren Elkins, right? Is that who else he beat? I think
he fought Gray Maynard.
Gray Maynard too, right? And those guys are not, come on, let's be honest with you, right? They're not even in the top 25, right? They're not even top 30 fighters in the featherweight division. So Ryan Hall, man, he's getting a big fight, I think. And we're gonna see. We're gonna find out. We're gonna see if he get exposed, or does he just prove what he's been saying all along, that he's an elite fighter.
Okay, Tommy asks, has the announcement been made yet? No, I don't think it's official, guys. That's just rumored or reported at least. Waleed says Ryan Hall keeps saying no one wants to fight him, but he pulled out of a fight with Ricardo Lamas in 2020, which was going to be a great test for him. Oh, yeah, Drake, how do you think that?
Drake, you know about that?
Okay, go for it.
Wait, about the pullout and everything. Yeah. I remember it happening and everything, but I was gonna ask you guys: has there ever been a fighter whose stock has risen more than Ryan Hall's by not fighting? I feel like this guy's stock has risen a whole lot, and like this following and everything, this cult following has really blown up by him not fighting in like cases like this where the Lamas fight fell through and everything. Am I wrong? Like over his UFC career, like so far, where the guy has gotten this aura now about him, like, oh, he's so dangerous, no one wants to fight him, like, but because he's not fought, you know. When we do see him in these rare instances, yeah, he looks pretty damn good. We know he's amazing on the ground, but just as for that matchup too with Ige, I agree with pretty much everything you're saying, John. Like, Ryan on the feet is pretty much just a distance kicker. Like he throws some funky stuff, like some hook kicks, like is just pretty much his primary weapon. Like if you look at that Gray Maynard fight, like the guy has essentially like no boxing. Like he barely throws any punches. He just tries to give you ways that could lead to, like, you know, the grabbing and everything, unless he goes for the Imanari rolls or whatever. He doesn't really shoot in for takedowns or anything. But if he can get a hold of you, of course, that is a problem. I think Ige should be pretty well prepared for it. It's definitely a very interesting test for both guys, but yeah, Ige's definitely more proven at this point. As for this Lamas fallout, though, what were we going to add here? What were you going to say? Sorry.
Oh, I actually did an interview with Ryan Hall last December for a Korean media outlet that was never released. But I did get a couple clips up on my YouTube page of the interview. But what Ryan Hall told me about the Ricardo Lamas fight is, like, when he got some pre-fight tests done, some medicals, they found some issue. He didn't want to say what it was, but there were some issues, and it was something really significant, and he didn't want to reveal it. But that's why he had to pull out of the Ricardo Lamas fight. And I got to respect that, man. I got to respect that, you know, he's telling us that something was wrong in his medicals, and he's not going to reveal it, but it was something that was a major issue. So, but hey, he's back. He's going to fight. So let's move on. There's some good questions though coming up. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, we got a Seppi a lot. We haven't seen you so much lately, Seppi a lot. How have you been? One of the OGs on the post-fight podcast. What do you think of Julian Robertson and Maverick fight that just got booked a few days ago?
Love it.
UFC 258, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very great matchup, and it's surprising to me. I did not at all expect them to throw Maverick at a top 15 opponent after her debut. You know, Miranda Maverick has been somebody I've pretty much seen her entire career unfold before my eyes, you know, going back to an Invicta and everything. And the writing on the wall was there that, you know, this girl was going to eventually make it to the UFC. A phenomenal prospect, has, you know, she can go very far. And it's very telling on the UFC's part what they see in her as well, by giving her a top 15 opponent in her second fight like Jillian Robertson. And this is a fight that favors her. Like, stylistically, this is a very solid matchup for Miranda Maverick to make an immediate splash after, you know, that great debut that she had already. So yeah, this is gonna be it's gonna be very interesting to see if Jillian can show some much needed improvements she needs to make in her overall game, where she's pretty much been exposed as just you know, a BJJ player, a black belt on the ground, and can threaten you with submissions, but if they are stopped, she doesn't really have much for you, as we saw in that Tyler Santos fight and everything. And Maverick, her grappling has usually been her strength, I would say, throughout her career, but man, as we saw in that last fight, didn't need it at all. Her striking is coming along very nicely. She is turning into the total package. Not exactly the fight I would have made or expected, but I'm here for it, man. I think it's a good one, and I'm excited to see how it plays out for sure.
It's a good fight. I like this fight. Miranda Maverick's a beast. Jillian Robertson is a beast. You know, a lot of people might look at the approach that Jillian Robertson is taking with her career as like counterintuitive, but to be honest with you, I think it's working out well for her. She's fighting as much as she can, because if you notice, her schedule is like every 3-4 months she's fighting, right? And she's kind of like learning on the job, and she's become a top 15 fighter while she's been doing this, right? And in her last fight, she was outclassed, right? But if you noticed, after the fight, she knew what happened in the fight. It wasn't like she was in denial. She didn't perform. You could tell the frustration on her face. You could tell it in her body language. And the only way to get rid of that is to get back in there as quickly as possible and get that bad taste out your mouth. And I feel like they threw her Miranda Maverick, and she said, sure, fine, why not? Let's get some more experience. And Jillian Robinson, how old is she? She's like, what, 22, 23? She's very young, right?
No, she's like 26-7, I think.
Okay, 26-7 still. She hasn't even hit her prime yet, right? And she's had, I think, almost 10 fights in the UFC, which is a lot of experience, right? And she's still learning. She's still getting better. She's going to be, I feel like she's going to be a top 10 fighter for many years to come. She's just improving, right? She's been in some fights where she's been dominated. She's been in some fights where she's just had bad luck. And then she's been in some fights where she goes in there and has that killer instinct and finishes the fight quick. So this Miranda Maverick fight, I've seen Miranda Maverick fight for the last couple of years outside the UFC leading into it. And yeah, she's a monster. And she kind of mirrors Jillian Robertson in some aspects. But I think physically, Miranda Maverick just is much stronger and most likely bigger coming into this fight. And she has that Muay Thai that she's been working on a lot. And I feel like that's been her focus for the last couple of years, because she's had that ground game for a long time, that wrestling grind style, right? Man, she's becoming a complete package. It's almost like whoever wins this fight is going to be able to move up quicker in the division. And I'm going to give the slight favorite to Maverick in this fight. I feel like if Maverick just stays off the ground and keeps her distance and just works her Muay Thai, she could win this fight pretty handily, right? But I feel kind of messed up saying that, because I have Miranda Maverick and Jillian Robinson lined up for interviews in the next 2 weeks, and I don't want to make a pick. So, but if I was going to say a favorite going into this fight, I would say Miranda Maverick is probably the favorite. But, we'll see what happens. I'll have to ask them about that when I talk to them.
Hopefully they don't watch.
Okay, well, we have hit the usual mark. We go to still some other questions. Depends on you guys. You have a little bit more time.
I'm here for whatever, man. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, if anyone needs to leave, just leave. Just get the hell out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Paguru, our favorite fan here is. I think I'll throw this one to you, Drake, as Mr. Ryzen. Do you think the only reason Ryzen is running the Tokyo Dome, whoops, it's gone right now, because it's limited capacity seating because of COVID? The only way they sell out is if they do Tenshin Takeru. Which match do you think they go with? Tenshin Horiguchi, half rounds kickboxing, half round MMA. Even NJPW sold 40K last year on January 4th. Quite a lot there to unpack. I don't know. I can put the first part back up.
A whole lot to unpack there. And I think I will start with the second part, actually, of Tenshin Horiguchi rematch. I would love to see that half and half. I don't think that's likely. They already did it in kickboxing, and I thought it was pretty competitive, actually, I thought. So no reason not to do that again if you're gonna have these two guys fight again, which would be cool and everything. Of course, the Takeru fight is what we're all hoping and dreaming for between Takeru and Tenshin. But Takeru doesn't want it to be one-sided, where either guys, whether the fight is for his side, or if it's with Ryzen, wherever it is, it wants like a neutral ground promotion or something that it's not favorable in that way. So that's a roadblock and everything. But as for the Tokyo Dome situation, I mean, yeah, I guess that is a reason that they would be doing it, is because of the limited seating capacity and selling it out, while not technically filling it out and everything during this time. But if you're gonna be able to put on an event in the Tokyo Dome, no matter when, why not do it? So I don't know. That's an interesting question, and I don't know if I specifically have a very good answer for it, but it's definitely something to consider. But also, right now, with how things are, I don't think Japan. I think things are kind of a little bit not great at the moment again, unfortunately. So there might be some limbo there. Maybe we'll see what happens. Hopefully, everything works out well. NJPW did 12K on January 5th and A5. Yeah, we'll see. I guess it definitely makes things very interesting with just the situations around the world and all that.
All right, Tan asking fight companion for today's card. Sorry, there will be no fight companion. Just because it's a little bit late for myself and John. We don't normally do UFC fight companions anyway, because they're just so long. It's like 6 hours. I gotta lose the will to live after that. Talking into sometimes when you're just talking to no one for 6 hours. Yeah, but we'll be doing a recap hopefully. If we're not too tired, or if I don't know if John plans on staying up or waking up halfway through, or just recapping it in the morning. We'll figure something out.
Well, it starts at 2 a.m. over where I'm at.
Yeah.
The prelims start at 2 a.m. The main card I think it starts at 5 a.m. So I'm gonna try to stay up, but if I fall asleep, I'll probably just end up waking up. You know, like how you naturally just wake up for some reason with something in the background, and I feel like I've done that many times where I'll fall asleep throughout the card if it's like one of those late night cards, and for some reason I wake up right at the main event and I'm like, oh, the main event's on, so I'm watching the main event. Like, I just slept through the whole main card, so maybe it'll happen like that. I don't know for sure, but I'll definitely try to watch.
It took me a while to recover from waking up for the Khabib Gaichi fight in the middle of the night. That really screwed with my mind and my body.
Yeah, and plus I have like 4 interviews lined up for Sunday, so I don't know how I'm gonna work that out, but I'm gonna do it somehow. So we'll see what happens.
Just head over to the channel. We'll have something. Some more comments quickly. Few people asking when this announcement is gonna be. 3 p.m. Eastern, which is Drake. You might be able to tell me.
It's 5 a.m. in Korea.
Okay.
3
So basically, when the main card starts for UFC on ABC 1, that's when the announcement's going to happen. So just tune into ABC if you're in the US. And if you're not in the US, tune into whatever channel.
I doubt they'll announce it like right off the top, but during the main card, of course.
Yes. And you know what? You know what could be a possibility too is I saw Gilbert Burns tweeted out right now is that they're going to announce that Khabib's going to be defending his title. And that could be a possibility too. So we don't know for sure if Khabib is fully retired or not. Maybe he knows something because he has the same manager as Khabib. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. Anything else? We gotta move on.
Yeah, a couple more comments. T_ is back. Just talking about Tension and Rise again. Tension has a fight with Ryzen. With Rise on 28th Feb, so it's almost 100% impossible to have Tension to carry a fight in March. If they do it, then maybe later this year. Right now, there's a capacity limit of 5,000 attendants in the sports events in Tokyo. Hopefully, it gets better. That's about it. No more questions. So I guess we will wrap up because, we got about an hour and 20 minutes until the show starts. So we should all go have a little break. You don't want too much MMA in one night. I hope you guys have all had fun. As I said earlier, what is it, Drake? Get fanatics.app. Go over there.
Yes.
Download the app. Fanatics Fantasy MMA. We are partnering with these guys in Hong Kong. You can pick all the fights. Go get your picks in now. You got like an hour and 20 minutes. I'm not entirely certain when the cutoff point is for picks. I better check with them. I know on some other fancy apps.
Totally free, right?
That's it. Totally free. No money. There's no, what are they called? Like the small micro gambling things or whatever they're called, micro purchases. None of that. It's all free. It's all fun. All free and all fun. Get your picks ready. You can make your group with your friends or whoever wants to be in it with you. You can make a group with strangers. You can make a group.
Just join the SCMP MMA group. Just say it like that, dude. Like,
you can join our group. SCMP MMA. It's in the app. It's easy to find. You can see our group in there, or you can join this link on the scrolling yellow banner, which will give you the direct link to our group there. All you gotta do is go to the App Store or go to getfanatics.app. Download the app. You'll be up and running in about a minute. It takes you about another 30 seconds to make all your picks. Get them in. See how you do. You can compare your picks after the fights to me and Drake and Chris, all the other guys from SCMP MMA, apart from John, because the app is not yet licensed in Korea. So John can't download it, sadly. Anyway, yeah. No, I'm working on that, John. I'm going to get the app ready for you in South Korea so you can use it and join us on Fanatics Fantasy MMA. I know you're pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
see if you're better than us.
Very excited about it, and yeah, it's just a way to create a community, man. It's free, so how could you hate on something that's free and it's connected to something that you enjoy, which is fights? And you pick fights. There's rankings, right? After who picks the most, right? Correct. There's gonna be rankings on there. Is there rankings on there, Nick?
There will be rankings after the first event. So in terms of like in the group, like who's done the best. Yeah, well, there'll be a league table over a certain amount of time. I'm not sure when the table refreshes or cuts off or anything. It might just run the whole year, or like each month they reset it. The rules are all clearly explained. I clearly haven't read them properly, but it's great, John. I was saying this to Chris. I wouldn't turn down. I've been looking for some sponsorship opportunities and partnerships. This is great because, of course, I would push anything if there was a sponsorship. But it's actually fun because it's very relevant to what we do. It's MMA and it's picking fights and it's fun. I mean, I'd still promote some manscaping or whatever have you. If a tea brand wanted to promote themselves on here, we'll do that. I'll drink tea as well. I'll manscape. But no, Fanatics Fantasy MMA. It's perfect. Go get your picks in now, guys. Yeah, both of them. And making picks on Fanatics. I can do all three.
Yes.
What are you doing here, guys?
You'll do one of those videos with that Chinese guy where he has the sheet covered.
Yeah, he pulls it. He pulls it. That guy's awesome.
Yeah. So we're about to end this chat. So get off the computer, or don't actually. Just open another browser. Go to getfanatics.app. Actually, do that on your phone. So just, oh, God. Stop listening to me. Stop watching this right now. Or pick up your phone, get Fanatics.app, or go to App Store and get that app now. Make your picks. Come join us, and let's all see who comes out on top tomorrow or tonight, wherever you are in the world. We'll do a recap after the show, and we'll be looking at who is top in the table. I'm pretty sure it's going to be me. I'm pretty confident. Drake, how confident are you feeling?
I don't know.
He's probably confident as Trump.
That would be overconfident, wouldn't it? A little bit too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't kept track of my picks too recently. So this is nice to be able to see, all of them in their spots. So I don't know. Generally, I think I'm above 50-50 more often than not, I would like to say. So I think we'll be okay.
All right. Well, on that bombshell, I'm going to click end broadcast. So thank you all for watching. Good night. Enjoy the fights. UFC is back. Can't wait to see you all again for the recap in about 10, 12 hours, whatever it is. All right. Thank you so much. And thanks to John. Thanks to Drake, as always, for joining me.